What's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and Tony showing you 3 combos that you need to know to play Dragon Rulers. We just got some insane support for this deck, giving us some really cool new XZ monsters to take this deck to a whole new level. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can become notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. If you guys like, check out the deck profile used in this video. As always, it is down in the description down below. But without further ado, let's go and get straight on into the combos. So for our first combo, guys, we're going to show you an awesome 1-card combo by just using a copy of Dora to be able to establish an insane board. So what we're going to do is go ahead and normal summon Dora to our side of the field. And this card is one of the best cards in the entire deck to open up because this card is actually a searcher, with the ability that if this card is normal summon, you can actually add a level 4 or lower fire dragon monster from your deck to your hand. So we're going to go ahead and use its effect to grab a copy of Genroku. Genroku is awesome to be able to add to your hand because if this card is added to your hand except by drawing it, you can actually special summon this card as a tuner and increase its level by 1. So we're going to immediately special summon this card out to our side of the field and increase its level to level 4, and then we're going to go in for a synchro play because this card counts as a tuner when it special summons itself. So we're going to go ahead and synchro both of these monsters away to be able to make a copy of Bident. Bident is awesome to be able to summon here because if this card is synchro summon, you can actually target a fire dragon monster in your graveyard and special summon it. So we're going to use its ability to instantly bring back our copy of Genroku to our side of the field. Genroku also has another really cool ability that you can actually quick effect tribute this card and then special summon a Tenpai dragon monster from your deck. So we're going to go ahead and use that ability to instantly bring out to our side of the field our copy of Pydra. Pydra is awesome to be able to summon because if this card is normal or special summon, you actually get to add to your hand or set a Sangan spell or trap from your deck, which is a great ability to instantly grab our copy of Sangan Kaiman directly from our deck to our hand. You don't want to set it to your side of the field since it is a quick play spell, so we couldn't activate it if we actually set it, and we want to activate it right away. So we're actually going to activate our copy of Sangan Kaiman, and this card is essentially a Rota for the deck. It lets us add a level 4 or lower fire dragon monster from our deck to our hand, which is the effect we're going to use right now. So we're going to use this effect to grab our copy of Chundra. Chundra is awesome because this card is also an extender that if you control a fire dragon monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. So we immediately summon this card out to our side of the field, and it's really good because this card is actually a level 4 tuner and our copy of Pydra is a level 3 non-tuner, so we can use both of these monsters to go in for a level 7 synchro play, which is so convenient for Dragon Rulers. So we're going to immediately bring out our copy of the Black Rose Dragon. Black Rose Dragon is a really good option here because you can use it to be able to board wipe the field if you need to, or you can use it for your combos to be able to go in for a rank 7 play, because now we actually have 2 level 7s on our side of the field that we can go in for a rank 7. So we're going to go ahead and use both of these monsters on our side of the field to go in for a copy of Chasma. Chasma is such a cool card because this card has the ability to quick effect send a level 7 Dragon Ruler monster from your deck to the graveyard and detach material from this card, and this effect becomes that sent monster's effect that activates when it discards itself, which is great to be able to do because you can actually copy any of your Dragon Ruler monster's effect, from Tidal being a Foolish Burial, Blaster being a Pop, your copy of Tempest being a Search, and Redox being a Monster Reborn, which is so cool. So we're going to go ahead and use its ability to send from our deck to the graveyard a copy of Tidal. Now we're going to use the ability of our card to be able to detach our copy of Bident, and then we copy the effect of Tidal as a Foolish Burial. So now we're going to go ahead and send from our deck to the graveyard a copy of Redox. Now at this point, we're going to go ahead and start summoning our Dragon Rulers to our side of the field. And that's what I love about the Tenpai engine in this deck, is it makes it so easy to combo off, to be able to get your copies of your Dragon Rulers into the graveyard, and it's so cool that Dora is a 1-card combo. So now we're going to go ahead and use the effect of Redox to be able to banish our copies of our Tenpai monsters from our graveyard to be able to summon it out to our side of of the field. Then we're going to use the effect of Tidal to banish 2 more dragons from our graveyard to be able to actually summon out our copy of Tidal to our side of the field. Now we're going to go ahead and link both of our dragon rulers away to actually summon out an awesome card, which is actually basically full combo, which is our copy of Hieratic Seal. Hieratic Seal is great to be able to summon here because this card can actually tag itself out during the opponent's turn into a card that's going to lock down your opponent in the form of Quackimero Drago. Drago is awesome to be able to summon because this card has a great ability that when it's on your side of the field, neither player can special summon light or dark monsters, which is super easy to play around in this deck because we have the Dragon Rulers. So we can easily summon them out to our side of the field to go in for game. But this card is a great target for our copy of Seals to be able to tag into during the opponent's turn to help us go in for game. So for our second combo, guys, we're going to start off with 2 copies of Spectral. And this is actually going to establish an insane board that's actually going to summon out a Towers-like boss monster. But this card is so awesome for the deck because your copy of Spectral has an insane ability that you can actually discard this card and a dragon or a light monster to actually add 2 Dragon Ruler monsters from your deck to your hand, except another copy of this card. So we're going to go ahead and start off by using the effect of Spectral to discard both of these cards to the graveyard so we can actually add 2 Dragon Ruler monsters from our deck to our hand. So we're going to go ahead and grab our copy of Blaster and grab our copy of Tempest directly from our deck to our hand. That's insane. We can literally search our Dragon Rulers off our copy of Spectral now, which is so strong. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and use the effect of our Tempest to banish our copy of Spectral from the graveyard and banish our Blaster from our hand to be able to instantly special summon out our copy of Tempest. And you might be wondering, well, why do we even search the copy of Blaster if we're just going to banish it? Well, all of your Dragon Ruler monsters between the big 4 actually share an awesome common effect that if they're banished, you can actually add a dragon monster from your deck to your hand of the same attribute. So, since we banished our copy of Blaster, we actually get to add a fire dragon monster from our deck to our hand. So we're going to go ahead and add our copy of Dora to our hand off the effect of Blaster. Now we're going to go ahead and normal summon our copy of Dora to our side of the field and use its ability to add our copy of Genroku. We're then going to special summon Genroku and use its ability to increase its level by 1 and turn it into a tuner. We're then going to go ahead and synchro summon it into a copy of Bident, just like in the first combo, and then we're going to use the effect of Bident to be able to bring back our copy of Genroku. We're then going to tribute our copy of Genroku on our side of the field because it's basically the lone fire for Tenpai to basically bring out your copy of your Pydra. Pydra is awesome because it gets us to our copy of Sangan Kaiman, which makes sure you're adding this card to your hand instead of setting it because it is a quick play spell. So then we're going to go ahead and activate it to be able to grab our copy of our Chundra. Now that we've got our copy of Chundra, we can actually special summon it to our side of the field and go in for a synchro play because this is a level 3, this is a level 4, and is a tuner helping us bring out our copy of our Black Rose Dragon. Now at this point, we actually have 3 level 7 monsters on our side of the field, so we can actually go in for a rank 7 play. So what we're going to do is go ahead and use 2 of our monsters on our side of the field to step into a copy of Chasma. And Chasma, again, can copy the effects of any of the original Dragon Rulers by sending them to the graveyard from your deck, which is so cool. It's basically like a double Foolish Burial, which is crazy powerful because we're usually sending our copy of our title to the graveyard. So we're going to go ahead and use the effect to be able to send from our deck to the graveyard our copy of title, detach our copy of Tempest, and once we detach our copy of Tempest, it will actually copy the effect of title to be able to send an additional card from our deck to the graveyard. So we're going to send our copy of Redox, and now we have all 4 Dragon Ruler monsters in play, which is so cool. We have a copy of our Blaster banished, we have Redox actually in the grave, Tidal and Tempest in the graveyard, which is so cool. And that's very important to have all of them in play. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and link away both of our monsters on our side of the field to be able to bring out a copy of Hieratic Seals. Do you guys know is basically full combo. So now we're going to go ahead and use the ability of our Dragon Ruler monsters in the graveyard that we have not used, which is our copy of our Title and our Redox. We have used Tempest and we have used Blaster. So we're going to go ahead and use both of these monsters in the graveyard and go ahead and start bringing out monsters to our side of the field. So we're going to banish our copy of Chasma, specifically banish our copy of Chasma, and we're going to banish a copy of one of our other dragon monsters from the graveyard to be able to special summon our copy of Title. Now we're going to banish from the graveyard or use the effect of our Redox by banishing from our graveyard 2 more dragon monsters. So we're going to go ahead and banish our copy of Dora and Genroku from our graveyard to bring out our copy of Redox. Now we're going to go ahead and make an XZ play, and this time we're actually going to bring out a new Dragon Ruler in the form of Eclipse. Eclipse is such a cool looking card, and this card is really good because it's actually a spell trap negate, and it has the ability, and if this card is XZ summon, you can actually target a level 4 lower Dragon Ruler monster in your graveyard or banishment, and special summon a level or rank 7 Dragon Ruler monster that mentions it on the targeted monster from your deck or your banishment. Then you shovel the targeted monster into the deck. So we're going to use its ability to actually target our copy of Spectral, which is so cool because it actually targets one of our level 4 lower Dragon Ruler monsters in the grave or banishment to basically use its ability. You can even target the one that's in banishment if you want to, because we actually banished our copy of Spectral on the beginning of this turn. So we're going to target our copy of Spectral that's banished, and we're going to bring back our copy of our Chasma to our side of the field, which is going to be really, really good. So once we actually use the ability to bring back our copy of our Chasma, we can actually go in for another XZ play. And you might be looking at it and going, wait, how do we go in for an XZ play? We don't have any level 7s on our side of the field. We can actually use our rank 7. So we're going to go ahead and use both of these monsters on our side of the field to make a new monster. And this is going to be disastrous for our opponent, as we're actually going to make Disaster Dragon Ruler of all apocalypses. This card is crazy. This card has an insane ability. We're going to make it right here, and it has the ability that it takes 2 rank 7 monsters to be able to make this card. And in this card is XZ Summon. You can actually target up to 4 level 7 Dragon Ruler monsters in your graveyard and or banishment and attach them to this card. Then you can banish all monsters from your opponent's field and graveyard with the same attribute as cards as materials. And also, you can only use the effect of this card once per turn. And while this card has a light, dark, earth, water, fire, and wind Dragon Ruler monster as material, it gains 4,600 attack and defense, and it's unaffected by all other card effects. So we're going to go ahead and make our copy of our Disaster on our side of the field, and we're going to go ahead and attach our copy of Title and Redox and Tempest from the graveyard, and our copy of Blaster that's actually in the banishment, and instantly attach these cards to it to make this card a Towers-like boss monster to instantly bring this card out and make it absolutely massive on our side of the field. And that's an insane amount of materials actually attached to this card, as it has 6 materials attached to it, and it essentially locks down our opponent. It's going to be very difficult for your opponent to deal with this card, as it has 4,600 attack and defense, and it also has an insane ability. It's unaffected by everything, which is actually insane. Plus, we have our copy of Seals on our side of the field that we contribute to be able to tag into our copy of our Quackimera Drago, just in case we need to during the opponent's turn, which is really, really good. But just 2 copies of Spectral ends on this insane board, which is actually insane. So for our last combo, guys, I'm going to show you an insane board using a copy of Spectral and Title as the only 2 cards in your hand. And this is going to completely lock down your opponent and be a crazy powerful board. So what we're going to do is go ahead and use the effect of our Spectral to discard itself and our copy of Title to the graveyard, so we can actually add 2 Dragon Ruler monsters from our deck to our hand, which we're going to add a copy of Blaster and a copy of Lightning directly from our deck to our hand. That's what's really cool about Spectral, is you can not only grab the big Dragon Rulers, but you can actually grab the baby rulers off of it as well, which is so cool. So now we're going to go ahead and use the effect of Lightning to actually discard this card and a Dragon or a Wind monster to be able to special summon a copy of Tempest directly from our deck. So we're going to bring out our copy of Tempest to our side of the field. Now we're going to use the effect of Tidal in the graveyard to actually banish our copy of Blaster, and Lightning from the graveyard to special summon it back to our side of the field, which is actually going to make our copy of Blaster go off. So we can search out a copy of a Fire Dragon monster from our deck to our hand. Now that we've got our copy of Dora and we haven't normal summoned, we can actually normal summon our copy of Dora to our side of the field to add a Fire Dragon monster from our deck to our hand, which we're going to add a copy of Genroku. Genroku can then special summon itself to our side of the field, increase its level by 1, and turn itself into a tuner, so we can go in for a synchro play using these two monsters. Now that we go in for our copy of Bident. Bident is really good because this card can actually bring our copy of Genroku back to our side of the field from the graveyard. So now we're going to use the effect of our Genroku to actually tribute him to be able to summon directly from our deck to our side of the field our copy of Pydra. Now we're going to use the effect of Pydra to grab our copy of Sangen Kaiman. Now we can use Sangen Kaiman to actually grab our copy of our Chundra. Chundra is awesome because it's a great extender. Since we control a Fire Dragon monster, we can special summon it to our side of the field. And at this point, we're going to go in for an XZ play. So we're going to specifically want to use our copy of Tempest because we are going to get in the graveyard since we've already used the effect of Tidal to bring itself back to our side of the field. So we're going to use our copy of our Bident plus our copy of our Tempest on our side of the field to actually make a copy of Chasma. Now we're going to use the effect of Chasma to be able to send from our deck to the graveyard our copy of Tidal, and then we're going to detach our material, which is going to be Tempest. Now we have the ability to copy the effect of our Tidal, and I have a very spicy tech card to send to the graveyard off our effect of Tidal. And we're actually going to send a copy of Arc Lord Christian. Now this card is crazy to play in this deck because you can actually bring it back to your side of the field using Chasma by sending to the graveyard during your opponent's turn a copy of Redox, which is amazing. So now we actually have sent to the graveyard our awesome copy of Tempest, so we can bring it back to our side of the field later, and we have set up a copy of Christia. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and link away both of these monsters on our side of the field to be able to actually summon out a copy of Hieratic Seal. You guys thought we were going to go in for a synchro play, didn't you? But now we're actually going to go in for a copy of Hieratic Seal using our copy of Chundra and Pydra on our side of the field. Then we're actually going to use our Dragon Rulers in the graveyard because we have not used the effect of our copy of Tempest yet. So we're going to go ahead and banish from our graveyard our copy of Spectral and any other monster from our graveyard to instantly bring it out to our side of the field because we summoned it originally off our copy of Lightning. Then we're going to go in for another XZ play, and we're actually going to summon out our copy of Eclipse this time, and this time this card is actually going to stick around because this card has the ability that if it's XZ summoned, you can actually target a level 4 or lower Dragon Ruler monster in your grave or banishment and special summon a level or a rank 7 Dragon Ruler monster that's mentioned on it, the targeted monster from your deck or your banishment, which is great because we still have a copy of Lightning banished. So we're going to go ahead and target our copy of Lightning and special summon directly from our deck a copy of Tempest just to get it into rotation. So now we're going to put our copy of Lightning back, and then you can pass over to the opponent. So once you pass over to your opponent, you actually established a crazy powerful board. We just have this copy of this Dragon Ruler monster on our side of the field, as it was basically for free off the effect of Eclipse. We have our copy of our Chasma that can copy the effect of one of our Dragon Ruler monsters, which we're going to copy our copy of Redox, and then we're going to use the ability of Eclipse because this card also has the ability that when your opponent activates a spell or trap or effect, quick effect, you can actually detach 2 materials on this card to negate the activation. If you do, banish it, which is great that it's actually a spell trap negate. We then also have Hieratic Seals that can tag itself out, but during the opponent's turn, at this point, we're going to go ahead and use during the opponent's turn our copy of Chasma as a quick effect to go ahead and use its ability to send from our deck to the graveyard our copy of Redox, then detach its material to be able to actually bring back to our side of the field Arc Lord Christia, which is crazy powerful that you can actually summon Christia and just lock down your opponent. So at this point, during the opponent's turn, our opponent cannot special summon. They have the effect that we can actually stop them from using a spell or trap, and our copy of Hieratic Seals can actually bounce a card, which is pretty cool. So we've established a pretty crazy board, and now we actually have all the Dragon Rulers in play, as we have our copy of our Tidal and Tempest right here. We have our copy of Redox in the graveyard, and we have our copy of Blaster actually banished. So we can go in for a copy of Disaster on the follow-up if we need to, or we can just go in for a game like this. But if your opponent deals with a copy of Christia, let's just say they do, you can actually use the copy of Hieratic Seals to step into a copy of Quackimera Drago, which is pretty cool to establish another way to stop your opponent from special summoning, which is so cool to be able to do. And this is one of the craziest boards you can actually establish in Dragon Rulers. So that's going to do this one, guys. I hope you didn't learn something about Dragon Rulers, because this deck is insane to be able to play. You can establish such cool boards using the new Dragon Ruler XZ monsters. If you guys like, check out the deck profile. As always, it's down in the description down below. But that's going to do this one, guys. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can come part of our notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. We'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.